Welcome into Coffee and Chel. It is Monday, December 8th. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Another big episode today. We're going to discuss a newly announced Chel week that they accidentally talked about and posted, so we'll get into that. The 90 overall icons. They dropped a crazy release, including the Patrice Bergeron. Always awesome when they drop in new alumni, like new players we get excited about. Obviously, the big one was Bobby Orr a few years ago. It just doesn't happen in NHL very often, and so that was very fun. Anticipated player, great card, and then we'll get into the costs a little bit. We'll talk about broken queuing, I think, as well as some post-patch fallout, give you guys a Sharks theme team update, and then we'll get into the most highlighted post from Reddit this past week, something that I think I might include in some of the Coffee and Chel episodes. So first, let's start with the weekend, fellas. So for me, touch on it. One thing, yesterday night, if you've been following my stream for a long time, I've talked about this a few times over the last 5 or 6 years. Me and my buddies, we started playing Risk Legacy, okay? Sounds nerdy and lame, bear with me. So it's Risk, for anyone that doesn't know what Risk Legacy is. It is Risk, however, it is a game board that lasts 15 games, okay? And what you do is the first game is pretty much traditional Risk, but then afterwards, the things that happen in the prior games last the entire game board. So, for example, if you win game 1, you can name a major city on one of the things, and then for the rest of the 15 games, only you can start in that major city. So, GG's Australia. Anyways, not to get into the actual thoughts about Risk Legacy because it is the perfect game. But fellas, if you're not even 30, if you're over 25, out of college, you got you've got your job that you're probably going to head to. And again, for anyone that isn't 25 yet or maybe out of college, unfortunately, here's what's coming. Essentially the same day over and over again for the next decade, right? So it sounds bad, but it's actually kind of calming. So once you figure out, your job that you're going to be at or whatever, it doesn't have to be a career, but just wherever you're doing, you meet a lady or guy and maybe you have a kid, your life pretty much stays the same. Now, the problem with that is the more responsibilities that happen, the less time you have for your friends. Your homies will just go away. And I don't mean that you'll no longer be friends with them. You just won't have time to always go and hang out. So what I stress, especially the homies that are in their 30s, because I know time is at a premium, force a hangout, okay? I'm talking it goes in the calendar. It might take 2 weeks of back and forth to get even 3 guys to agree on the same day because, fellas, again, it's not just us. If we go and say, hey, okay, let's try and play on Sunday. All right. Then Tommy's got to go and say, okay, I can't. I'm going to my wife's sister's birthday party. Can't do that. Then Jimmy goes, yeah, but that's my kid's friend's birthday party. It takes hours to figure out a day. But then you put it in the calendar. You make everyone force or screenshot that it's in their calendar. All right. I would recommend sharing a calendar with your wife, by the way. In your phone, if you have an iPhone, it is the simplest thing. And I don't mean that now your life is controlled or whatever, but you'll never forget that appointment or whatever. It's just shared. So then you put Risk Night in on January 18th is literally the next night that me and my boys landed on for Risk. It is a month and a half away. It went in the calendar. My wife sees it. There's nothing that can be done. I picked a day that there's nothing. There's no other dots on the calendar. So then, it helps. It makes things go. Other than that, now, if you live in Canada and you don't play hockey, obviously it makes it more difficult, but join a sport. One night a week, fellas, if you can. A sport is great because it's I paid for it, got to play it, whatever. Convincing your wife to play Risk every week is probably not going to fly. But I would just stress that you do that because, God, was it fun, man. I won. We played 2 games. I won the second one because I'm awesome. But just, get a bunch of snacks. We had a couple of great drinks. I have a wine membership for one of the Gretzky's winery, actually, in Niagara on the Lake. And if you ever come to Niagara, go to Niagara on the Lake. If you're a big wine drinker, amazing wineries there. The Gretzky winery is really nice just from an atmosphere. But we get sent a couple bottles of wine. I'm not a wine drinker. My wife is, but they said they do spirits as well. So I got the double barrel their double barrel whiskey, and really good, right? So we had a couple of nice drinks and just dominated each other's world. Phrasing on that. Anyways, I won a round, so there's that. Anyways, moral of the story: just if even it doesn't have to be 5 friends, 2 friends. We're going out for dinner in 3 weeks, dude. You can book it 6 weeks out as long as it's in that calendar and your wife sees it. She can't do anything about it. She'll try. She'll kick and scream, be like, "Well, actually, I think we got to take our kid. My mom thought about. Nope, is 8 weeks out. You can't do anything." So, on to some Chel. All right, on to some Chel. Chel week with college players. I talked about this quite a bit. That one of the bigger, not fears, I don't want to call it a fear. One of my bigger concerns with the World Junior event this year is that, or every year, is that one of the lame parts of it that was never really solvable was that the U.S. team, they never get full representation in HUT. Right, so the World Junior event, it comes out, and even before there was fantasy cards tied to it, it was always one of the more fun events because there was some sort of like, if they get gold, they get +1. The problem is the USA teams, they could only use CHL players, like from the Canadian Hockey League, and unfortunately with that is that the U.S. national team hates CHL players, or they don't hate them, but they hate playing them over the national development team. So very rarely are they impact players on the team. So with NCAA college football coming out a couple years ago, it kind of changed the game because, it made acquiring the name, image, and likeness far easier for these players, right? We saw it last year. Last year was pretty monumental because James Hagen's got a master set player item before his draft. And that was massive because that means that he literally signed the name, image, likeness deal to put his likeness in the game. So I don't know what the cost was, but I had a concern this year that it might just be too much. Again, the NHL doesn't have a big budget, unfortunately. It stinks, and again, the consumer suffers. But, to afford Gavin McKenna, who jumped ship from the CHL to go play at Penn State, and then you've got Porter Martone, who's at Michigan State. I always mix it up. Michigan State, for example, right? So some of the biggest prospects all jump ship to the U.S., and we're only going to see more of it, just like we're going to see more top-end 16-year-olds from the U.S. playing the CHL, right, with the new agreement. And it does turn out. So I wanted to highlight this because it was posted on Twitter. So I believe this came from came from the Xbox. Can I just show it? I'll just try and show it. 1 second here, guys, as I mess around here. Here, got it. Okay, so this was from Fausto on Twitter at Gray Destiny. So give Fausto a follow if you want to stay up to date with. He posts all the content and things like that going on in NHL. So, anyways, this was from Xbox, I believe, and sometimes they accidentally whoopsie daisy release stuff. And anyways, in EA Sports NHL 26, your path to glory begins with a fresh crop of icon releases, including a free Patrice Bergeron base item. So we got that. On December 15th, redeem a World Juniors HUT Choice Pack. So this is also coming. That was announced, right? As well as the goalie masks. But on December 15th, it was announced that we get a World Junior Choice Pack. We had no idea what was in it. The Choice Pack is Gavin McKenna, Porter Martone, James Hagens, or Cole Iserman, all collegiate players. And experience all new World Junior Chel Week content. So, the week that I am gone in the Dominican, I decided to take my first vacation in a long time. They come out with the most banger Chel Week potentially of the year because it's all exclusive USA-born players. Because, of course, what did I tell you guys? They would always find a way. Whenever I go away, it never fails. EA releases some crazy content. So, unfortunately, I will not have any videos pertaining to this new stuff until I get home next Saturday. I leave this Saturday. So, it looks like on next Monday, Chel Week will kick off, and it's going to be a World Junior event, which is awesome, especially for you guys. That's exciting. So, I love this, but again, more surprising is that they got the biggest players, essentially. They got their rights, which is a huge. I didn't know because again, they could have been like, nope, I want $20,000, and EA and NHL would be like, well, we can't afford that. So that's awesome because it's just better for the player base. So we're getting that. A new Chel Week for the World Juniors is huge. I want to touch on what I expect during the World Junior event. I would anticipate fantasy. There is no guaranteed fantasy cards, guys. Like I would say, I'm at 40%, I would put it as you could make a BND by doing objectives. So like the fantasy event that we originally got, you got enough to make an account bound player, or two, I think was, right? But then the cost was just so high to make one that you specifically wanted. I guess if you saved your all your account bound players, it would have knocked down the price quite a bit, but still egregiously expensive. But then the PWHL drop happened. So the PWHL drop for the season happened, and they released fantasy cards, no sets. So you legit just you like you or sorry, no objectives to knock down the price, right? So that was concerning because again, EA knows that this event, like World Junior cards, it is one of the most watched events. It's the holiday season. You're gonna get, Aunt Matilda is gonna fire you off a $100 Xbox gift card, right? They know that that's in there, and they're just trying to milk all the stuff they can to make these because they know these fantasy cards are so sought after. Now the PWHL obviously not as popular, but the World Junior event, that's going to be up there. Who will never forget ASP? Had a hat trick or a couple goals in game number one of the tournament, and he ended up being on my team until like March. It was crazy. So I would anticipate that we get World Junior cards for Fantasy World Junior cards because that was I think that was one of the best things they did last year, and they know that that was a banger. But I anticipate that we're not going to get given any objectives, any objectives or any moments to knock down the cost. I don't think we're gonna get that. So we'll see. I'd say about 40% is that we end up with something that knocks down the price of them, but maybe we'll see because it's such a big event. Like maybe, you know, I hope that we get some fantasy ones, but I expect a fantasy event in general, like MSPs, things like that we can make for free. And they'll be like, well, we gave you these MSPs for free, but the fantasy cards are like, nah, you're paying top dollar. Just an insanely expensive endeavor, right? So, the 90 overall icons. So, they released 5 new 90 overall icons kind of out of nowhere. Obviously, last season, we got a drop of icons, heroes, and all of that right in the middle with Lindros, and then they gave out like Nabokov, for example, from the Heroes release, and crazy like little mini content nuke, right? The 90 overall Bergeron just out of nowhere, huge. Love that. Love when they add new icons, like popular icons in the game, and they made the card incredible. Quick release and quick draw is not fair. Like that is my quintessential perfect centerman card build. Like if I was trying to build a competitive team and I wanted a card that could give me the best chance to win, like a max face off with quick draw, one of the better abilities, just because again, if you are good at face offs and you have all the advantages, like a high face off rating and quick draw, I will win 90% of my face offs. And when you start with the puck, like that's just hockey. Like you have a higher chance of winning, right? And then you combine the fact that he has elite quick release, which is the best ability in the game. Like the best impactful ability in the game. I think that there's a few in the same tier, like Unstoppable, for example. But quick release, the things you can do with it, it's just crazy. It allows you to play quick release allows you to play your wingers successfully on their on their strong side. Lefties and left, righties and left. I've been doing that a lot. I have quick release on almost all my cards, and you can pick that corner upstairs, which is a real goal. It's just because that ability is in the game, it allows you to actually do it. Where if you didn't have it and it's just related on attributes, you're probably not scoring it. And I guess there would be a debate that that's cheesy and whatnot. Honest to God, I think it just like allows you to do like a goal that's tough that is in real hockey, right? And it just looks nice. Like there is nothing more satisfying than scoring that goal. Honest to God, I have a blast with it, fellas. So anyways, they come out. Oh, it costs $587 overalls. Like the sticker shock on these cards, I don't know how we can be surprised by this, guys. The sets and progression cards will always be like so expensive, and it's how they sustain getting you to spend money throughout the year, right? Like it just is, right? Because a new event comes out and maybe it moves the needle, right? But icons are so far and away better than current master set player items, and same with heroes and all of that, that's when you're gonna feel like spending money. I said this in my no money spent video, guys. It's not like I don't ever it's not like I don't ever want to spend money. Right? Like there's times where when Landon DuPont came out, Ryan Robrick came out, I legitimately was like, man, I can't spend money because it's my gimmick now, but I really wanna. I really want, and I like to acknowledge that, right? Like I like to acknowledge that because that at least means that too often the best cards don't really care about, but you just feel like you have to put on your team to give you an advantage to win in the game, right? Like that's what it is. But then there's sometimes I like to acknowledge the fact when they come out with a card where it's like this just looks awesome. Dion Phaneuf. I always liked Dion Phaneuf as a player. I guess there'd be an argument if he should be an icon, however, but I don't think he was an alumni the last couple of years. I could be wrong. I remember there was a year where they gave him a bunch of cards, but I think for a couple of years he hasn't been one. So I think he's like back. Again, I could be way off on that, but like Bergeron, they were just like, oh, Phaneuf's back. They made that Dion Phaneuf card with Rocket and Truculence. He's big, fast, line combos. Legitimately, my perfect card right now. I could not design a card better than that. Maybe flip Rocket and Truculence, just because I don't think you need Truculence in someone that big of the elite version. I'd rather have Rocket, just for fun. Like, Rocket's not even... I wouldn't put Rocket in the S tier of abilities. It is just stupid fun, again. And it allows you to play lefty defenseman on the left side because you can actually hammer a slap shot easier when you've got the same side defenseman. So anyways, I was like, man, I really want to spend money on that. But the cost is $587 overalls. At the current time, that's 1.2 million in coins in value. If you were to make all of the 86 icons with 83 overall alumni and then trade that 86 overall in plus the 84s required to make the 87s, you're looking at 1.2 million coins of value to make a 90 overall icon. Understand a couple things, guys. Number one is that they're 90 overall cards. So, like, there was a big progression. Well, I guess not a big progression jump, but we did go to 89 overall event items and 90 overall icons, right? So that is a pretty big jump. So it is the highest overall card in the game right now. So the expense is always going to be shocking, right? And it's not like at the launch of the game when 86 icons are so far and away the best, they count them as 86s. They don't count them as the most expensive sought after cards. So it's only going to get higher and higher and higher and higher. This is where they are really starting to push away the new player trying to catch up. So I've talked about this quite a bit, that it has never been easier to make a no money spent team and be competitive. Now, that does not mean you get to play with the cards you want. Okay? Way different things. I can make you a team and show you how to make a team where you go online and you're not getting your brakes blown off because of your team. Okay? It'll be somewhat similar. Yes, you will be at a disadvantage, but it will not be what it was in NHL 20, where it was very, very difficult to. And again, revisionist history, but it was very hard back in the day to do that. No money spent now, you can build a decent team, but you're going to get given cards they choose, right? Like Master, like you're not going to be able to go out and get, some of these team of the week items or star of the month or icons. So you're not going to be able to pick and choose what ones you want. You're going to have to take free MSPs, things like that, right? So what I've realized now, though, is if you play all year, okay, if you've been playing all year, you have enough to go out and get the 90 overall. Like, for example, if I wanted Dion Phaneuf, I could trade in Solani, I could trade in Fedorov, I could trade in Coffee, I could trade in Sakic, I could trade in Lindros, okay? That's 586s and an 87, right? That significantly knocks down the cost to make Phaneuf, right? Obviously, I don't want to do that, but it is still potentially there, okay? Problem is, if you haven't been playing since launch, you're not getting a shot at these 90 overall icons for 2 months. Probably until the next season comes out, when now we're at 90 overall icon, or maybe 92 overall icons. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by this is that just it's really pushing away. If you were just starting out, I guess it would maybe, if you're just starting out in HUT, I feel like the chances of you spending money is so little. That's another thing, like just about the gaming industry as a whole. The people that spend money, there's so few. This is like capitalism, but the 1% of the player base spends 90% of the money in HUT. You know what I mean? Like they've already got you. If you're spending a lot of money in game, like let's say over $100, not multiple times, just once, you almost certainly own the game already. Now maybe it's a little bit different at Christmas time because of gift cards and things like that. That might be a thing. But yeah, like just expect the cost to go up. So here's what I would take away from this. If you feel like I did, where the FOMO is real, you see that Dion Phaneuf card, and I know the way I play the game and the way I choose to play the game. Again, I could go out and get FNUF if I wanted to, but then my team is decimated and I don't think it's a good trade-off, right? If you feel like that, clock that, and that means you just need to prepare. So if you don't want to miss out on this again, here is what I'm changing my mindset to. Once I get my Sharks team in full, and I'll talk on that a little bit, but anytime you get an alumni, guys, do not sell it, right? Do not sell it. Now, yes, you could be giving up coins and whatnot, but if you save all of your alumni that you get from the XP path, packs in ranked, packs in champs, packs in cup chase, like you will get a substantial amount of alumni. And if you just save them, that's probably the best way to do it. Okay? Like, and the other way is icons will never icons will fall in price. The 86, 87, 88s. They will fall in price, okay? Understand that those will explode the most. So if you how do I explain this? They can't release new base alumni, okay? So, you know those cards where it's like, you know, the 85 overall, they require 85 overalls. They can't release 86 overall base alumni. Base cards are base cards. That is them. Unless they change the rules, okay? Because they would have to re-release other alumni that were higher overall that are base alumni, right? Like 86, 87s, etc. But the icons, they can force those, right? And they've released those. So if you see Solani fall to under 100K at some point, something along those lines, right? If you really wanted to focus on future icon upgrades, then yeah, maybe pick up a couple, right, with your coins. But again, I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm just going to save all of my alumni so that I have a better shot at it when stuff comes out. And regardless, even if you save all of your alumni tradable and you just waited for the next icon release, you can make bank. All right? Because as it stands right now, I believe 84s are going for about 37,000 coins, 38,000 coins, right? They were going for 46,000 on Friday. Again, this is just a Market Monday thing that I learned. This is a tactic. So alumni, I'm just holding. If you can, and slowly work towards the cards that come out. I want to touch on the Bergerons. The limited Bergeron set. We got a free Bergeron card. Kind of sneaky. When I was doing the line combo video, there's a +4 you can get with that card. You're going to need the 84 Grudge Match Ritzkovian and a Stutzla card. Any Stutzla card. But that's +4 overall. Ritzkovian's kind of hard to get because I feel like they're waiting that set. So if you make the event set, trading in 382 overall items for an 84, there's only 384s out right now from the event. And from Reddit, it's just no one's pulling Ritzkovian because he's the key cog to that +4 overall, right? But even the 86 overall Bergeron, not a good card and not worth putting in your lineup. But if you got a +4 overall, that's a sneaky way to make your, and then you can go up and make Stutzla if you wanted to. Suzuki, by the way, hard S tier. He's far and away the best one of the bunch. But the Bergeron 86 can go into the Bergeron set for the 90, knocks out a 250K value. Because you don't need another 87. You'll need 4 87s, right? So that's what I'll be doing. That is what I'll be doing. I'll slowly be working towards that over the next month. I think you have like 25, 26 days. So just the beginning of January, it looks like. But I'll probably be doing that. And the reason I'm probably doing that, guys, is because, again, the 250K in value is pretty big for a no money spent player. I can make FNUF and whoever else whenever I want. The sets that don't have timers are in the game forever, guys. So that's just my thought process. I don't blame you guys going for anywhere else, but that's just what I'm doing. So let's talk about the broken queuing. So my man Mighty Flow, follow him on TikTok. It's actually a pretty big TikTok. I found him like 2-3 years ago. And for anyone that's a creator, right? I watch a lot of creators, guys. I love scouring to try and find the next, the new creators, because it gives me a little bit of joy seeing people in the grind, because I understand it, right? I remember back in 2017 when I was nobody, and I'm still nobody in the NHL community. And so I'll go around, I'll scour. If you're making NHL content, guys, I like watching, I like seeing it. So, anyways, the reason why is that every once in a while in the design council chat, they'll ask for is there anyone that you think we should add that would be beneficial to the program? Like I'll always be throwing out like guys that I think that are creators, or not even creators, but there's been some people like on Reddit, things like that. Active members of the community. You don't have to just create content, right? Like I think if you just get content creators in the design council, I don't think it's a great thing because I think you need like hardcore players that just love the game because I think that's just as beneficial, right? So I am on the lookout. But anyways, long-winded story about Mighty Flow, but he had posted in the chat um that he queued up for a champs game and it gave him a ranked game. And then he went back and looked at his how many times have you guys done that? I've done it for years now. I've queued up for a rivals game and but on my own, right? And then not realize that you're playing a rivals game even though it's staring you in the face. Um which maybe is a sign that you're probably checked out and you should probably stop playing. But he went back and looked at his VOD and he did queue up for champs. This has happened since the patch. So over the weekend, it happened to me 3 times. And I was just like, am I like, dude, I need to lock in, not in the same stream. It was multiple times throughout, right? And just so silly. Like that's a broken. So if that happens, guys, there's nothing you can do. And if you're playing champs and you don't want to play ranked is harder than champs for the first 10 games if you're above gold 1 or you're maybe gold 2. So it's frustrating, and not to mention it's harder to keep going up and getting squares in ranked. So you don't want to just quit out. But be on the lookout because that looks to be like a broken thing in the game. Sharks theme team update, guys. So I talked about this. We'll take a little field trip. For anyone that's listening, I'm just showing my Sharks theme team. Talked about this. I have not been this excited to play the game in years potentially. So I am close. I need Tyler Toffoli's base card, Philip Kurashev's team of the week item, and then I need Dickinson's next gen item, and then finally the final piece is a couple options. So I'm using anyone that was healthy and in a game this season, and then using the line mates or close to it, right? So I'm trying to make it the current team and very, very similar. So Nick Leddy's an option now that he's back, but so is Shakir Muhammadulin. Couple different options there, right? And then Nedeljkovic and net. I want to point out I had so many comments and like DMs about, hey, I've got this card. How do I send it to you? Guys, I'm a no money spent player and I don't like utilizing my platform or doing things in the game that you guys can't do because I think that takes away relatability and then it skews my feeling of the game, so I'm not as in tune with you guys. Not that I'm very in tune because I play the game as a job, so I definitely play it far more, but I try and keep myself grounded. So anytime there's like a broken pack in the store, I don't do it because I think it ruins no money spent for me, and then you guys watch a lot of my content for the no money spent stuff, so I don't take part in any of that nonsense. And one of them is that if I wanted to, if I was a normal player like you guys, if I was Mike in Indiana and I wanted to build a theme team, and I think I'm gonna start the theme team wave. A lot of people have been doing it for years, but I'm gonna start this is how I recommend playing Hut, and I'll explain why in one of the Reddit recap is actually gonna touch on this a lot. Anyways, what I'm trying to get across here is that I'm only gonna make fair trades. So for Colin Graff, right, he was an 86 overall. I went and bought an 86 overall in the auction house, and then I traded that to my viewer for Graff. So I'm going to give fair value trades to acquire these cards because I don't think it's fair for me just because I have a platform and a lot of people, that have these cards be like, here's Kurashev's 86 overall team of the week card. It's worth like 50K. I'm not going to do that. So it's going to take me a little while. I still need to save about 50,000 coins. Trying to get immediate rewards and not wanting to play Cup Chase is just like pulling teeth. It's not possible. I have so much untradeable stuff. Like I could make whoever I want. And there is some cards I'm going to be making for my champs team, my God Squad. But it is taking me some time to get some tradable cards that I can use, or just coins so I can buy one to get the last few cards. But we're getting there, right? So we're getting there. The biggest thing I want to touch about on the theme team, though. So the grudge match event came out, and like I said, I'm so excited to play my ranked. It's gonna be fun to play my theme team, and I think my idea for content might be good. It might be too much and kind of lame, and not a lot of people want to watch it. But for anyone that didn't know, my plan is, if you watch my No Money Spent video, I touched on it a little bit. My plan is I'm gonna try and play out a full 82 game season in ranked with my Sharks theme team and see how many points I get, right? Like if it was a real thing, and see if I can make the playoffs based on last year's whatever, right? And if I do make the playoffs, then I've got to win I could give myself extra games to see how far up the ladder I can go, right? So if I get to platinum and I made the playoffs, I can do a couple best of 7 series. Anyways, it's silly, it's dumb, whatever. And then I'll reset it at the beginning of next season. I'll do the same thing. Champs is going to be for my God squad, whatever. And then what I think I'm going to do, the editing of like putting together like highlights and clips of the Sharks team would be too much. I don't have enough time to do that. I'm being realistic. But what I think I might do is I might just record and then chop up so it's just the gameplay. I'm gonna be streaming my Sharks team game. That'll be what you watch on stream a majority of the time, and then I'll just throw up the uncut gameplay of my. You'll see it's like me streaming, so like I'll be commentating what's going on, my reactions. It's like you're watching me on Twitch. A lot of people ask me for VODs, so I think this might be a happy medium. So all of my Sharks team games for my ranked season run will be on YouTube, but it means you're probably gonna get like 2 videos a day or maybe a video a day of it. I sometimes people get overwhelmed and then they don't like seeing all the notifications, and like if the video isn't very good, it can kind of tank my algorithm. So I don't know. We're gonna test it and see if I end up going to just full on updates. That might be the play. But anyway, so with the focus of this, the new event came out, the grudge match event, and man, I didn't feel the need, or the icons came out. It took away so much of the God, I gotta have that. I just talked about how like FNUF made me want to spend money, but I'm talking about how like it went from like, man, I'd like that card, from it used to be gotta get it. Man, if I want to have a good team, I need this card. Dude, there was no Sharks in the lineup. I basically was like, oh, cool. I don't have to worry about trying to find this, 87 overall World Junior Ty Delandria. Like I was like, okay, cool. I can just slowly take my time, get my free MSP for my God Squad, grab Suzuki. We're on our way here, right? So, to be honest, there's been so many Sharks. Thank God we didn't get another one. I anticipate fully now the devs are probably going to see that I'm doing a Sharks theme team like for content, and I'm just not going to get any more Sharks. They're like, dude, we got him. He's obsessed with the game again. We did it. Now it's like now they're going to work me. They know I'm not spending money, so they're going to make some like crazy limited edition card like DuPont and Robrick. It's going to be like, man, look at this throwback Nedeljkovic that's 92 overall, right? Like that's what I fully expect. But anyway, jokes aside, I guess we should get into this. Okay, so on to the Reddit recap. Okay, the Reddit. Actually, no, I want to touch on the HUT holiday event first, and then we'll get to this. Okay, the HUT holiday event. I don't know. It's extra stuff, but we've got the objectives they came out with. Chance packs at tickets. I don't know why they're doing this. Well, I do. I'm assuming it is a marketing tactic that they've seen work in other games or something that gets you to be more engaged and stick in the game. So the Advent pack every day logging in to get it, that's a tactic that's been in the game for a decade, okay? They get you into the store. You've got a higher chance of actually utilizing the store, right? That's why they have a free daily objective pack in the store. You don't think they're just trying to give you free stuff. It could go right to our inbox. There's a reason why it's in the store, fellas. So, anyways, they use that tactic. The chance at a ticket, and then tickets only being in packs, like, if this is the free Christmas item, fellas, because those 388 overall cards, Wolf, Douglas, Seattle Kraken, Big Boy, Alexiak, I think. That Douglas card looks like he might be one of the best cards in the game. If they give us enough, my anticipation is they will give us enough stuff of gold tickets to make those cards. But if that's if we wake up on Christmas and it's like, here's 10, I guess here's 10 gold tickets. I guess maybe that's it. I don't know. But the way that they're handling it so far, it's just like, it's hard to be excited about this. Like, you've milked the free Christmas gifts. You know what I mean? Like, they're finding a way to monetize the free holiday thing. It's like, hey, guys, we want to do this thing. It's Christmas time. Let's get into the holiday spirit. Pay for it. Like, just, I hate that, I understand. Like I said, I'm not upset. I understand this. We've been talking about it for weeks now about, just not just EA NHL. EA NHL is just caught up to every other game. You think that NHL is always milking us for money. Guys, like I said, it's not even on the same level with Madden and all those other games. Even MLB, again, they do a great job. They do a great job. The best cards in that game are in chase packs. Now in MLB 26, right? So it happens in every game. NHL is just kind of woken up, and I would assume they've made more money than ever from microtransactions. 100%. They had to have, especially after last year. Last year was a disaster because they couldn't come up with a pack that we actually wanted. All right, so let's talk about the Reddit recap because it kind of ties into. Okay, I'm going. I'm no money spent. So if there's stuff that's super expensive, I just don't have interest because I can't acquire it. And then secondly, now I'm going like full theme team too. So if there isn't a shark, I feel a disconnect. It allows me to disconnect from the gotta have it, right? And I saw this Reddit post. Let me see. Can I give credit to? Do I have it pulled up here? I might not have it pulled up, so I do apologize. Actually, no, I'll pull it up. I'm doing my due diligence here. No, we give shout outs. This guy's it's Dipperl Dip. All right, from Dip. Okay, this is the most engaged with Reddit post of the week. Okay, and actually I can just pull it up here. So here it is. Okay, so you've got it says avoid video games that use extrinsic motivation. I had to Google what extrinsic motivation means. Here is the Google word for it, or the description of it. Doing something for external rewards, so hut cards, coins, objectives, or avoiding punishment, feeling like getting left behind by not chasing the current packs, not for the enjoyment of the task itself. Okay, I've talked about this for a long time. Okay, so a video game should at least mostly rely on intrinsic motivation, meaning that the playing of the game itself is the fun part, not the reward you get for playing the game. If you don't enjoy the gameplay, but you want to earn loot boxes, you've fallen into the intentionally exploitative system operating within so many games nowadays, and you need to find another game because you're not having fun. It doesn't sound serious, but this is the kind of thing that can make depression way worse if you've already got depression. Now, obviously, that is far more, serious and things like that. But I've talked about this so much, and it was the amount of engagement on this tells me that there's a lot of people that understand this feeling. And in NHL, like I've talked about this for like 3 years about how I don't really care. I care about rewards because the game needs to be rewarding, or we're just like we're not playing it. But if you go into a game and at any point you're not having a good time, you don't get the let's go, then it's hard to justify when you think of it, like that. You know what I mean? It's tough to tough to justify that. And I think this is going one of the examples. It's funny. I've talked about this forever. If you are just playing the game, the chores to get the card, the untradables, to put on your team, and then you're chasing that, and you don't really love the gameplay because the L2 or you don't like the meta, stuff like that. If you are just in that cycle, you are going to work. That is a job. What the first example of extrinsic motivation is a job. Everyone needs a job. Understand that. But very few people love their job, right? Like the act of doing the thing to acquire the stuff should always be the most important. So like I like playing the game now more than I have because I've found ways, or I have really tried to understand the way that I enjoy playing the game. We're always going to have complaints about the game. Gameplay is subjective. Hockey is a luck-based sport. There is so much luck in hockey, okay? And then it carries over to the video game, and it can leave you in one of the most frustrated, experiences, right? Broken stick, shot off a shin pad, off a face in the net, right? Like, we've talked about that a lot. And if you don't enjoy playing the game, guys, like it is something that you really need to take note of. But for myself, this season, and again, maybe I'm growing as a person, all right? And I like talking this out with you guys. Wingers on their strong side. It bothered me because no one talks about it. No one talks online players competitively, right? Like the fact that you can't, if you want to give yourself the best chance to win, play players in their correct position is mind-boggling to me. And it has always just been accepted, myself included. Like I've been playing competitively. I don't mean like in tournaments and stuff. I have played in tournaments like I did in like the early teen years, but like I'm talking about the way I enjoy the game is loading up and beating the brakes off someone. That is where I get my peak enjoyment of the game. It's not team building. It's not acquiring, getting a huge pull in a pack. It's not working really hard and then earning a master set or an icon. It is loading in the champs or ranked. And my ultimate thing is when I match up against someone I know, because it pulls the best effort out of me, and I lock in. And if I win, which I don't do much of anymore, it is a blast, right? And and so many people play the game for that, especially online players. And that's in any game, right? Like you play the game to win. Especially if you're born in the 90s. Like, I don't want to get into the whole like participation trophy thing, but winning was way more important back then than fun. And I think that we've just carried that forward. So when you play a video game, you want to win. And I think that ignoring for 20 years of online play, wingers on their opposite side for one-timers or the cut into the middle to shoot upstairs or far side, that is how you score. And that is how it has always been. A defenseman at the point. There has never been a year where it wasn't laughable if you saw someone with correct side defenseman. Forget wingers. Not having a defenseman at the point of the one-timer is putting yourself at one of the biggest disadvantages. Again, I talk about this all the time. It's not from an offensive standpoint. It's that your opponent can ignore those players. Meaning now you have to, with the puck carrier, worry about a double team because your opponent can all but ignore there's no one-timer happening, right? Think about how many times you're having to defend a player who has opposite-handed players, and they're circling down low in the corner, and you have to cover the point and the far side. That's what they're trying to set up. Like, you have to manually cover that, right? Like, that's how it goes, right? And it just blew me away this year. I just realized, I'm like, man, the thing I've really enjoyed about NHL 26 is that you can pick the corner. You can shoot short side. You can score real goals where you see the goalie cheating and you can pick a corner and it is satisfying. So once I started to notice that, I'm like, man, why don't you just play your wingers on the strong side like you do in real life? And it has been so much fun. It has improved my experience tenfold, guys. Because I know if I lose, there's games where I lose, and it's because of that. I know it, especially if you're in a 50-50 game, right? I know that if I'm in a 50-50 game and I had my wingers and my defenseman flipped, I probably should have won. But I accept that because I'm putting myself at a self-inflicted challenge, but it is the reward far outweighs those losses because I'm like, I understand. I did that myself. But then when you watch me on Twitch and I'm picking the corner upstairs on the strong side off the rush with Bedard, and I'm just like, man, makes you feel something. That's huge, right? And I think that when it comes to Hut, you have to put self-inflicted like challenges on because they don't challenge you enough. And the gameplay, if you were to just conform to the meta, you're just playing the same thing you've always played, right? And while winning might still be the most important, I understand that completely. I am one of the most competitive people. Just because I'm not out there trying to cheese everything does not mean I'm not competitive. When I care about something, like I said, man, you get all of my attention. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think for a lot of us, we're stuck in that, and you're really not playing for anything. Like, think about that. You're not playing for a world championship anymore. There's no gaming world championship. There is Hut Champ, sure, but the next week it rolls over and everyone forgets. Like, you're not gonna make a name for. I guess you're making a name for yourself, and maybe that's important to you. But at the end of the day, man, no one cares, bro. No one cares that you had an 18-2 run. Like, nobody. It's like winning a fantasy championship. Like, sure, that's awesome for you, and and the people that play it in your league, they know. In your circle, like if you go 18-2 and you let your buddies know that you dominated people, okay, cool. But Try and go and tell anyone that is not in your fantasy league talking about fantasy sports. It might be the most mind-numbing conversation that you're going to put someone through. Like that's what you go up to your buddy who plays MLB or maybe isn't a video game. He's like, man, I went on a run this week. Let me tell you. Okay. Number one way to just get, you know, tuned out, right? So, but this post and extrinsic motivation, it's just it's only I think it's going to become more mainstream over the next few years in gaming where people are going to stop. This is going to become more knowledgeable. And I hope that I keep pushing. I've literally been pushing this. I just didn't know what it was called. I'll be honest with you. I mean, if you've been watching me for a couple years now, I've literally been talking about this exact issue. And if you're going through this issue, you need to stop playing the game. You need to step away. You need to do something to break the chain that Hut has over you, right? And I think this is going to become more mainstream where people, much like social media, there is a trend growing on social media, one of the bigger ones, especially if you're someone who watches like self-help stuff, like self-improvement stuff. Not for everyone, but I'm someone that loves trying to improve in like all aspects. I just find it interesting. One of the craziest things on social media is how to get off social media. Like, and the dichotomy of that is crazy. I think in video gaming, like we're getting to that point where one of the mainstream things is going to be how do we just stop this cycle that video game companies are 100% taking advantage of the human psychology. Like they have gamed the system to get us to do that. And I think over the next few years, you're going to start to see the gaming industry lose its stranglehold, especially as my generation. We are the biggest gamers. Like, I get that video games is a kid thing. And as you get older, more responsibilities, right? More responsibilities for sure. Okay. So less time for video games. Let me tell you, the kids that have the time to play games, they're playing the game. They aren't spending the money. And money makes the world go around. And we're in an age right now, these next few years, where gaming industry or gaming developers are trying to get the last bit of revenue because they're publicly traded companies. They have to report revenue earnings and they have to show that they're earning more money. But they're laying people off because they need to cut costs, because they need revenue to be higher, and they can't put new innovative things in with less people. So what ends up happening is they're just squeezing the 1% of spenders, which is us. I'm not. I used to spend thousands, and I used to do it with the lens of like, it's for my job. When in reality, well, it was for my job, but that's what sparked it. But I like, it's not like I hated opening up 5 billion packs, getting all the best cards. It's not like I hated that. And I think that that's what's coming, is that you're going to see us, 30 and above or 25 and above. I don't want to be so generalized, but if you have your life, like if you have the 90% of your days are going to look roughly the same, if you're in that part of your life, like you're going to stop spending money because you're going to start realizing, and it's become more mainstream about what is actually happening to you. And I think that you're going to see a pretty big shakeup in the gaming industry because of it. Because the one thing, games will always exist. It is the biggest industry, biggest media industry in the world. It's bigger than movies and music, which is crazy when you think about it, right? And but the problem is when you dangle a carrot, which is Ultimate Team to a core, when you dangle a carrot, and we're always chasing on that treadmill, when the carrot gets too far away, when you just keep making things cost more, giving less out for the cost, and you keep moving that carrot further and further away, here's what happens to humans. When it's too far away, we don't care. Not for me. You've moved it too far. And at that point, that's when things really change, right? So we'll see. I think that this is going to be a really big issue. And I think that if you are someone that is just not enjoying actually playing the game, like think about it. You log in, you're like, got to do my chores and stuff. But once you do your chores and you've got that card, like, are you enjoying even a single game? Like, it's not, I got to play my champs. That's the main one for online competitive players. If you feel like, oh, I got to play my champs, why? It better be because it's scratching an itch. I'm competitive and I want to play it. And there's lots of you guys out there that are playing it because of that. I'm not saying everyone is like that. I'm just talking to the people that aren't self-aware enough to realize that you're not enjoying the actual act of the video game. You're looking for a second job, something to take your mind off of it. Like you're programmed by the world to follow this format of like, okay, here are tasks. Tasks need to be complete. Once I complete them, I'll get this reward. But then the tasks start again, and I gotta keep going. That's just a job, fellas. I've been talking about that for years, and I just wanted to shout that out. So let's get into the questions and comments from the last episode. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So we'll start at the top. Went through some and whoop, 1 second. I apologize. There we go. All right. Here we go. Here are the most liked ones from the prior. Wait, why does that look weird? There we go. All right. So Dome Beers. What a name. He says, 100% I noticed poke checks didn't work well last night, and I didn't realize they had reverted anything. So yes, unbiased, the poke check didn't work well. They may have reverted everything. Unfortunately, they need to fix poke checks, and for sure they need to fix the stick lift. The stick lift is harder to land, even in perfect position, and when it does, it seems like my stick remains in the air longer than the puck carrier, who I successfully stick lifted. So annoying. This is talking about how I mentioned in the last episode that they reverted back icon passing because they broke it. And they said that they just reverted icon passing. Ever since that, it was 12 hours where poke checks felt. And I don't mean overpowered. I mean, you're in position. You are defending a player correctly. They are in front of you, and they have the puck away from them. And you time a poke check, and it doesn't skip over. It doesn't go through the ice. It doesn't knock it a half foot, and the player can pick it up again. It was, you knocked it free because of good defensive positioning. 12 hours it lasted. And it's just, they're going to say that all they did was revert icon passing. This is what happens when you release stuff and it doesn't work. You break the trust of the player base. I don't believe you. I don't believe the developers or whatever that they just reverted icon passing. I play this game far too much, and maybe it's in my head, but poke checking is exactly what it was before. When on my champs run, there was like 4 or 5 instances where I went and showed replays of poke checking, skipping right over the stick. And I'm talking with guys that have 90 and above stick checking. So miss me with that. I've been saying this since launch of the game. I don't want them to make poke checking too overpowered. So if they have to leave it, leave it. But stick lifting, fix that. 100% fix that. Inside body positioning, stick lifted, and they can put their stick down first, meaning they just carry on. That's the problem. That how they didn't address this and they went after poke checking is crazy to me. I don't know, but anyways, I just think that that was tough. Hey Slaves, been loving the videos. I'm curious. In a previous video, you mentioned you worked at Apple. What did I do there? So I worked at a call center, which are now an RIP call centers. That looks like it's going to be one of the jobs that AI probably eliminates. But I worked at a call center for Apple, and I ended up being a. So we were technically if you went into an Apple store, right? You talked to an Apple genius. You actually had to go through like a certificate program. Like it was actually kind of lengthy to become an Apple genius. Unfortunately, I was that, only I got paid a fraction of what Apple geniuses actually get paid if you worked at an Apple store. So I was an Apple genius there. So essentially what I would do was any tech support, but then I worked in different roles in the company. So I worked for iTunes when iTunes first became a thing, where like I had to like do, refunds of like albums and TV shows and things like that. When I ended, I was a tier 2 agent. So I essentially, when a tier 1 agent, you would call in, you would get a tier 1 agent tech support. And then if they didn't know what to do, they would escalate to tier 2. So I was tier 2 for wireless. So I handled all of their wireless products. I think I am such a patient person because I did 3 years of trying to get grandma, what's a good name? Grandma Diana to fix her Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi is not always a plug this in, code this, change this text, it'll work. It is like, try this, unplug that, let's reset this. Like, it is very, very difficult to always get the right thing. And I think that's why, especially when you have the elderly folk that just had no idea. And then we're talking like, this was like 2009. So like still Wi-Fi and routers and stuff like that were kind of newer, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I met my wife there. I met my best friends there. Like it was a great time. Call centers. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Call center is probably a way different thing now, and there's so few of them in North America specifically. But call centers were, if you're in your early 20s and you don't know what you're doing and you're just looking for a job, try and see if there's a call center area. Couple of reasons why. You're almost, I think the odds are 70% you're going to meet your significant other at work, right? Not to mention, it's just all people that pretty much hate their job, and you're all surrounded in each other. So you have you have a common enemy, your employer, and there's just so many people at a call center that you can meet a ton of people. If you move to a new city and you had no current job, but you didn't go to school, 100% I recommend a call center. Very off topic there, but what's up, sleeves? This may be a crazy question, but how do you hold your controller with my feet? And what are your back buttons in the Edge controller? How are your reviews on it, if you still use it? Also, it's amazing to see how your channel changed and the growth you had through the years. One more quick thing. Quack, quack, quack. Love seeing Beckett so well. All right, I get this so much, guys. I get this so much. So here's my Edge controller. I do not claw grip. So I used to, which probably is going to be the reason why I have arthritis. Used to claw grip, back in the old Halo MLG days. But no, I hold it like, you know what I mean, like normal, right? The back paddles, guys. The only time I have my right back paddle to Y for every once in a while when I want to Michigan. I don't use the back paddle for anything else. So when people ask me, what do you have? How do you have your Edge controller set up? The only reason I use this, guys, is because the PlayStation 5 created a controller that I'm pretty sure they had to sue the manufacturer for because they do not last. Their stick drift is one of the worst of any console generation ever. It's a big reason why I hate PlayStation 5. And I if Xbox wasn't a disaster and for the Xbox One era, and if Microsoft literally wasn't just stopping Xbox in general, I would have switched. I've been a Sony kid my entire life. This console is an absolute disaster in comparison to other PlayStation consoles. The only reason I use this is because this is my third NHL. So 24, 25, and 26. Right before NHL 26 was the first time I got any stick drift, and you can just pop these out. Like you just pop, I don't really want to do it. You just pop them out, and you just get a new module. It's like $30 each, I think, maybe. NHL, if you play on PlayStation and Xbox, it will beat the piss out of your controller. Especially if you're an OG and you slam up when you shoot. Like if you are doing the bam, 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 like if you've been playing NHL since like the early 2000s, that's probably what you do. So your sticks just take a beating. These last. So if NHL is your main game and PlayStation is your main console, please buy an Edge controller. It's $300. It's disgusting. You shouldn't have to. This is not a promo for it. It is the only acceptable controller because if not, those 4 controllers, guys, I keep them. That was in a 6-month span. And I wish I was kidding. And I play the game more than most. I totally acknowledge that. I don't care. Like, I do not care. That is pathetic. So that is why I use an Edge controller. That's it. I don't have any special settings. It just lasts. That's it. Hey, Sleeps, is there any way you can keep your streams up on Twitch in the past broadcast tab? I would love to watch some live streams, especially with your new Sharks Team Challenge. My schedule doesn't seem to line up with your live streams. Keep it the fantastic work. Again, I like pulling down the fourth wall and being open and honest with you guys, much like why I don't put the who should you choose on Spotify, for example. Reason why I don't have VODs on Twitch. Number one, I play copyrighted music on Twitch streams, and to avoid getting a copyright claim and things like that, Twitch they do have people that go around. I actually don't know the last time someone got hit with a copyright claim. Knock on wood. You would have to have a Twitch employee hop in your stream, and since Amazon has laid off pretty much everyone, there just isn't any, I guess. And they don't have any tech to do it live. Live. So what happens is when you're done and you post your VOD, like your VOD automatically saves to Twitch, it will skim through if you have copyrighted music. And then it'll hit you with a copyright warning, which is fine, but it will take away the audio. So, it won't take away the audio, but it will, if you get enough of them, Twitch will be like, yo, what are you doing? So that's the main reason number one. Main reason number two, I don't know how to word this correctly. Cancel culture is a unfortunate side of social media, and you will get people that dislike content creators and other people, whether they are good people or not. You will get them. You will get hated because people watch you do something that you enjoy, and a lot of it is, um, I guess, jealousy, but I don't even want to call it jealousy. It's anger that their opinion isn't as loud as a content creator, which is why I try to listen to I listen to everyone's opinion, and I've found that too often you will get people that will clip things out of context. I talk about anything and everything, and I don't hide anything. I'm not a different person on Twitch than I am on YouTube or in real life, right? But there'll be times where, we'll talk about random things and not I don't want to say politics, but like topics that are going on. A perfect one would be Carter Hart, for example, and what's going on with that, right? And the danger of just getting clipped out of context and then having to. Unfortunately, we live in a world where someone sees a clip and there's no context given, and unfortunately, you're just, even if you explain yourself, it doesn't matter, right? And that's just an unfortunate reality of the industry. So to avoid all of that stuff, I just don't. If you watch me on Twitch, I would hope that I come off exactly as I do in Coffee and Chel and things like that. And if you've met me in real life, I hope that I try and keep myself grounded, and I really think I am in terms of that. So it's not like I'm saying anything crazy. It's just I avoid the dangers of that because unfortunately cancel culture is real, and I can't stand a lot of it, and I just avoid that aspect of it. So I do apologize. That's why I don't have my streams up like that. It is definitely at a detriment to my career, but it's just something that I've just kind of, it's my take on it, right? So the Sharks thing, though, however, guys, the Sharks run, and what I'll do, it'll be like a video series where it'll be just my gameplay, and I'll clip out all of the sitting still. So searching for a game, you'll get just gameplay, and it will be my reaction and talking through the game. So it would be as if you were watching Twitch. Like, I think that's what I'm gonna do for my Sharks one. So, one more. Oh, okay. So Max, again, for anyone that is a membership or that paid for a membership, I like to highlight a membership comment every day. So if you are a member, guys, post your comments. I'll sort by that, and I'll try and see it, and I'll answer one every single time. So regarding fantasy cards, it's a bigger blow to the NHL viewership, in my opinion, as no NHL fan and gamer have incentive to watch their favorite fantasy players. 100% agree, but I think you have to understand that, like, if they did not change the cost of sets, like when the PWHL event came out, enough people did it, which is so unfortunate because people will just fall into that trap of, like, they'll make things cost way more and give far less rewards, but we'll just keep doing it. The carrot has not gone far enough away. But yeah, the biggest part about the NHL in terms of fantasy, or the fantasy event, was that Provorov is blowing up. Again, victory lap by me. I guarantee you there is Provorov guys that own Provorov that have tuned into a Blue Jacket game. That's huge. That's what the fantasy event is all about. I love it. I'm still watching Habs games here and there, more than before, given the horrible state of the game in Season 1, breaking my addiction to Hut, but I'm not watching any other teams. Montreal will squeak in again this year with a shot at winning their first series. I think so. Yeah, I agree. And it's okay. I'm an Ottawa-born, Ottawa Frenchman with a hate for the ones who get to play with 10 and less pink, brother. Me versus the Montreal Canadian player base. I say this on stream. People think I hate QC people. Not the case. This game has made me, EA Sports has made me hate an entire province, and it is no fault of their own. It is what it is, and I apologize. I cannot stand the Montreal Canadiens, their fans, or their logo, all because of the NHL video game. However, I respect the Bruins and Leafs as true rivals. I hate Ottawa, though. They would be the last team I would want to see bring the cup back to Canada, and that my friend is the only handshake I will make to anyone. Leafs Habs fan base will always agree to be friends for a moment watching the Sens fail. Is that true? I'm curious. Leafs and Habs fans, would you put your differences aside to see the Sens not win? Actually, one more here that I want to highlight. Can someone talk about how people are pausing the game right before a face-off, then winning it? I swear it happens at least once a game. This is an ultimate dick move, okay? So if you notice that you're about to get in your face-off, you've actually placed your stick down. So you've gotten ready for the face-off and someone pauses the game. They are going to take their time out. They're holding their stick, okay? They're holding their face off and then unpausing it, hoping that you let go and you're not going to be able to win the face off. So when you see that, when you hold it and someone pauses it, hold it to the forehand or backhand or whatever you had it for. I see it all the time. It's a total dick move and just cheesy garbage nonsense. So knock it off if you do that. But yeah, that's what's happening. People are legitimately doing that. The other thing is, they'll actually, this is gamesmanship, but if someone puts out their first line and they're dead tired and they see you put out your fourth line, they'll then do the timeout to take their timeout. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Chel. Hope you guys had a great day. I'll see you guys on stream. I'm still chasing a few more sharks before I start the Sharks ranked season run, so I'll probably be doing more chores or something to get some more coins and cards to finish the last few cards. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.